Hello everyone, Adam Cleary from FourFourTwo, and just Man United, they've done it again. Just when you think they've turned a corner, this team, this collection of genuinely quite good footballers has managed to record yet another headline-grabbing catastrophic defeat. But wait just a second, because if you are a Manchester United fan and you have clicked on this video and you're now thinking, do you know what? I actually can't be bothered to hear about why we're so terrible and we keep losing these games again from you, Adam Cleary, then do you know what? Just have a seat, because it's not all bad. Alright, so look, before we start, just forget about all the refereeing side of this game, okay? Both those penalties were absolutely ridiculous, and you can definitely argue that the Rashford sending off was incredibly harsh, but just the bottom line is, this Manchester United team, any Manchester United team, should be able to hold on to a 2-goal lead against Copenhagen, even if they've only got 10 men. We can all agree on that, surely. And we'll get on to why they didn't in a second, but first let's talk about how they got that 2-goal lead, because for 40 minutes, right up until the red card, this was as good as I have personally seen them all season. I did this tweet. Where have they been? I asked. There is intensity to their running. There is intensity to their pressing. They are passing it with confidence. They are moving the ball around. They look like such a threat. We haven't seen enough of this from this team this season, and this was always supposed to be the team Ten Hag told us he was building. We want to be, he said, and I won't try and do the accent, the best team in transition in world football. Now, what does that mean? Now, transition is a very trendy buzzword we all use at the minute, and it basically just means when one team loses the ball and the other gets it back. That is a state of the game that teams really work on to make themselves really effective both defensively and in an attacking sense. Your dad might call it counter-attacking, but it's not as simple as just sitting back and waiting till you get the ball and rushing up the other end. You're basically trying to counter-attack from everywhere on the pitch. So what that means is basically one of two things. Either when you are defending and you win it back, you're really well drilled at then springing an attack up the other end and scoring goals as a result, or when you've just lost the ball, usually in your opponent's half, the team is then perfectly drilled to try and win it back straight away. And the reason Ten Hag wants Man United to play like that is because they have loads of players who are theoretically really good at doing it. They're quick, they're creative, they're incisive, they make good choices on the ball. It's the kind of players you want to be a transitional team. And for 40 minutes against Copenhagen, they looked like a brilliant transitional team. They got 2 goals directly off doing that. For the first goal, they recover the ball and they play a long direct pass into Marcus Rashford, who has found the space. He then in turn plays in Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who is exploiting the space the defender is left from being up the other end of the pitch. Scott McTominay, who's in this team to make deep runs from midfield, makes a deep run from midfield again into the space that Copenhagen have left, and they get a really good, brilliant counter-attacking goal from it. The second goal, even better. Bruno Fernandes intercepts a stray pass in his own half, and you can just see here, look at the body language. As soon as he gets that ball, so many Manchester United players know it's their job to flood up the other end of the pitch because there is a chance. As the ball crosses the halfway line, they effectively have a 2v1, and you will score from that situation 9 times out of 10. Garnacho should just square it across to Højlund, but that doesn't matter because the keeper spills it right into his path. 2-0, and they looked brilliant. And it wasn't just the 2 goals, by the way. They were really good at this right from the kickoff. This is Opta's map of all of Manchester United's turnovers prior to that red card. This is way more than they normally do in the Premier League, and you can see here a number of them, I think like 6, are high turnovers. They've won the ball back almost, if not quite, in Copenhagen's final third. Anyway, the best one here, 0-2, is actually 20, because that's Diogo Dalot. That is one of Manchester United's fullbacks winning the ball, not even an interception. That is a tackle won in the final third. That is gold dust to a team that want to hurt you on a transition. And for a time, it was good. And then it wasn't. And this is what I mean about the best and worst of Manchester United, because this is how Erik Ten Hag wants this team to play, and when they play really well, when they get their together, they can be really dangerous. And were it not for that red card, they'd have gone and won this 4-5-0 in my opinion. Copenhagen had everything all wrong. They were not going to stop this. Man United were, if you pardon the pun, rampant. But then we get the red card, and before half-time, that 2-goal lead has just completely vanished, and it's the same old problems we've seen from them all season. This is how Man United are set up as the cross which leads to the goal comes in. Varane and Maguire, they are perfectly positioned to stop the main goal threat, and the run at the back post has been correctly identified and marked by Aaron Wan-Bissaka. But the problem is this man here. You saw this for the first goal in the Tottenham game, by the way. Man United set correctly. They're in a good shape. Everybody is technically where they are supposed to be, but nobody is reading the situation to decide, actually, I know I'm supposed to mark this area, but nothing's happening in this area. I need to go where the threat is, and that's that player. And the thing is, if we just rewind a couple of seconds, Scott McTominay has a look like he knows there is a player coming across over his left shoulder. Bruno Fernandes is looking right at him. Between those two players, they could sort that out. Either McTominay moves across to block that run, or Fernandes just gets a proper run on and goes to catch him, but neither of them do that. And lo and behold, when the cross goes long, he finds himself in all kinds of space. He cuts the ball back. None of the Man United defenders really react to it quick enough. It's 2-1, and the heads go. But it's the equaliser that I think is more damning, because you are down to 10 men. Your lead has just been cut in half. You've got about 4 minutes left to get in at half-time and sort this out. Use your brain. Show some game management. This is where that goal comes from. Does that look to you like the shape of a team determined to just see this half out? Like, where do you even begin with this still image? Like, the back four have gone really narrow. Great, good idea, but you need to have your wide players then come back in to defend this space, and neither of them have. There's a huge gap between the back four and the two midfielders who should be sitting in front of it. So your man here is in loads of space. And yes, look, we said at the start, the penalty decision is absolutely ridiculous. Obviously it is, but if you watch what happens when the ball comes in between Maguire and Varane, two immensely experienced footballers, is that the reaction? Is that the decision-making of either player being really committed to getting rid of that? It's not at all. And I'm not going to make you sit through the third and fourth goal again, because if you've not seen it 100 times already, then you almost certainly don't want to. But Dalot, he has this man absolutely well-marshalled and then just doesn't track his run. That's the equaliser. And then for the final one, 3 Manchester United players, 3 experienced top-level footballers, all go for the same header, leaving somebody in the box whose name may or may not be Rooney this much space to win the game. At the point of him striking the ball from within the penalty area, there is nobody within about 5 yards of him. That simply cannot, under any circumstances, be allowed to happen. But it does happen, doesn't it? It happens time and time again to Manchester United this season, because for all the positive qualities they have, all the things they are really good at doing, they lack the ability to manage a game of football. And this is where I think if we are going to start to criticise Erik Ten Hag for some of this, then it's fair to do so, because the man has an obsession almost with playing a type of footballer in certain positions rather than playing a type of person. There was an absolutely fantastic thread on Twitter, which I'm just going to pretty much repeat verbatim here, it was that good, about how he selected last night's starting 11, which did have a few people scratching their head, based almost mathematically and robotically on what he expects a footballer to be able to do on the pitch. For this system that he wants Manchester United play, he wants a left-sided centre-back who is going to carry the ball up the pitch and progress it that way. It's why he bought Lisandro Martinez. It's why he doesn't like Harry Maguire there, because he's far more of a passer than he is of a dribbler. So of his options available to him, with no Shaw and no Martinez, he wants Johnny Evans to do that. And if you're going to play Johnny Evans there to do that, then you need to offset his physical decline by selecting another defender who's far more robust, a little bit quicker across the ground, a little bit better in the air, and of the options available to him, that's Harry Maguire. Lindelof and Varane are on your bench. They are almost unarguably better footballers than those two, but they're not going to do the very specific on-the-ball things that he wants, so that's the pair he goes with. Now, I do personally quite like Scott McTominay, but one obvious criticism of him is his decision-making in defensive situations. Like you quite often see, as we just did for the equaliser, he will be running back towards his own goal, and he will not do the thing he should do. He will just do the very basic thing he's been told to do. But that seemingly does not matter to Erik Ten Hag, because he has decided that he wants somebody in central midfield who will make runs from deep and help help provide a goal threat, as we saw with the first goal. He's really good at doing that. So he is the player he picks to put in central midfield, regardless of what else that means for the team. And it's this weird obsession with profile over personality which ultimately lost them the game, because it's 3-3. They've just conceded yet another equaliser, but there's not long left. You can lock this game down. You can get out of here with a point. And he makes the substitution of Rasmus Højlund for Mason Mount. Now, he's done this because for whatever reason he felt Højlund couldn't continue and he needed to replace him with someone who was going to do a specific job. And that specific job was to drop deep near the midfield, receive the ball to feet and hold it up. And of the options available to him on the bench in that moment, so Mount, Pellistri, Anthony Martial, he thinks, who is the best at receiving the ball to feet? Who is the best at doing that? And the answer is obviously Mason Mount. So he sticks him on up front. Now again, I like Mason Mount. There are many positive qualities to his game, but one thing you do not associate with him is an ability to battle against defenders, to hold people off, to get a foot on the ball, to know when to buy a foul, to know when to run into the channel, to do that kind of classic centre-forward work that would theoretically have seen them over the line. You can say what you like about Anthony Martial, but he will have done that several dozen times in his career. He has battled centre forwards. He does know when to buy a foul in that position, but that's his personality. That's not his profile. And would you like to see Mason Mount's entire contribution to that game after he came on the pitch? Well, and apologies, it's backwards again, but here it is. He won the ball back in the corner once, and he did both of the kickoffs. They did not find him with one single pass. He did not allow them to ever relieve pressure when they were defending. It was about as ineffectual a substitution as you could hope to make. So just to wrap this all up nice and neatly for you, when Manchester United are good, they are really good because there are loads of players in that team who are good at doing the things that make them good. But when they are bad, they are really bad because not one single player in this team is good at the stuff which stops them being bad. Nobody gets a handle on the situation. Nobody keeps their head. Nobody organizes things. Nobody reads the game as it is happening and makes adjustments on the pitch. They can do what they are told to do, but when teams find a way to get around that, they don't know what to do. And I do start to worry for Erik Ten Hag that the blame is finally going to start shifting over to him because they've been incredibly unlucky with decisions and with injuries and things like that. The Rashford red card, again, another example. And so many of these are just individual bad decisions being made by players that are costing them goals. But how many bits of bad luck and how many individual mistakes can you have before they are a symptom and not the cause? It's like Mr. Burns, isn't it? In that softball episode of The Simpsons. Like 3 misfortunes, that could happen. 7 misfortunes, there's an outside chance. But 9 defeats in the first 17 games. Anyway, though, if you are a Man United fan, you managed to sit through all that, please, I genuinely would love to know what you think the problems are, why this keeps happening in the comments. But is it just bad luck? It's actually really good, just the most unfortunate team with 10 to 100 witches' curses cast upon them. That's an opinion, certainly. Why not share it in the comments below? Of course, don't forget, here at FourFourTwo, look at our nice shiny metal thing that I found in a cupboard to subscribe while you're here. We love subscribers. Till next time, though, get me on Twitter at Adam Cleary, Clery, 442, the whole social thing. It's in the corner of the video. And until next time, which I hope isn't another Man United video anytime soon, I will see you soon. Goodbye.